Yo guys, TheCuriousBrit back once again, and today we're doing another fan favourite. We're reacting to a video from Not Just Bikes. The video we're reacting to today is one of his more recent ones. It is called the car replacement bicycle, in brackets, the bakfiets. I probably butchered how you say that. If anyone can tell me how you say it properly down in the comments, I would greatly appreciate it. But I'm just going to go with bakfiets. I'll probably learn the proper pronunciation in this video. If you like what you see, don't forget to smash that thumbs up. Really does help out the channel. Hit subscribe so you never miss any future uploads. Without a further ado, let's jump into this one.
2014, we returned to Canada after many years of being abroad. We had been living in several countries and in cities that were walkable and had high-quality public transportation. But we knew we wouldn't have those luxuries back in Canada because Canadian cities are designed wrong, so before we even got there, I was already researching what car we would buy. I was hoping we could at least drive electric because I personally prefer not to give little kids asthma when I travel somewhere. So, for example, the BMW i3 was on our list, but I'm glad we didn't get that because this car is a piece of garbage. But anyway. After the expense of the move, we didn't have enough money to buy a car anyway, and so we went without one for a while. But then we found something even better.
What the fuck is that?
This is a type of bicycle known in the Netherlands as a bakfiets, literally a box bike or thin bike.
Not a bakfiets.
In English, these are usually
So not a bakfiets, a bakfot. Oh, how? How do you say that again?
This is a type of bicycle known in the Netherlands as a bakfiets.
Bakfiets.
Literally a box bike or bin bike. In English, these are usually just called cargo bikes, but that word can apply to many different types of bicycles, so I prefer to use the Dutch word. This bakfiets became our car in Toronto, and we used it for everything. We even took it with us when we moved to Amsterdam in 2018, so we are probably some of the only people in the world to re-import a Dutch bakfiets back into the Netherlands.
Bakfiets.
These are insanely practical bicycles, and you will see them everywhere here, especially around schools and daycares. I genuinely believe that bikes like these have the potential to be the most important vehicles of the 21st century. One of the unexpected benefits for us was just how much kids love riding in bakfietsen and prefer them almost universally to sitting in a car. And this is really easy to understand because this is what the view looks like for a young child sitting in a bakfiets. You can tell this was filmed by a kid because it's all shaky and on a Dutch angle. And this is what a young child sees in the back of a car. There is no question as to which one of these is better from the point of view of a child. Riding like this allowed our kids to see the city as we did, and they developed a mental map of our neighborhood as well. They learned where everything was. They learned every landmark and every street name. This is so much more mentally engaging for a child than riding in a car. Of course, cargo bikes are really nothing new. They have been around for over a century, and they used to be a common sight in cities all over the world, usually as delivery vehicles. The book Curious George Takes a Job, published in 1947, shows this delivery man on a cargo bike, presumably in New York City. But if this book were published today, most people would be more surprised by the cargo bike than the monkey on the bus. Cargo bikes were also very common here in the Netherlands as well, but they became much less common as Dutch cities, including Amsterdam, became more friendly to cars and trucks in the 1960s and 70s. However, in the late 90s, the bakfiets made a comeback as an environmentally friendly and efficient way of transporting children in crowded cities.
It is really clever design, really, isn't it?
Are not like their cargo bike predecessors. First, they're a lot more agile and efficient, especially the two-wheeled versions. I really do not enjoy riding a three-wheel cargo bike because they're very slow and clunky, but also because they're really unstable if you turn too quickly. The only time a three-wheel bakfiets is more stable than a two-wheel bakfiets is when it's stopped, but the two-wheel versions have great kickstands anyway, so it doesn't matter. But the big innovation that's really driving this comeback is electric assist, because that's what really makes these go from being an interesting novelty to being car replacement bicycles.
Really clever.
It's incredible just how popular these bikes have become in some parts of the Netherlands. Any place where there are young children, you will find bakfietsen. In North America, there's the stereotype of the suburban soccer mom. In the Netherlands, it's the bakfietsmoeder. Sometimes that term is used negatively, but that just proves that humans will complain about literally anything. Personally, I am very grateful to live in a city full of bakfiets moeders instead of suburban soccer moms in giant SUVs. Now, there are some nice spots in most Canadian and American cities where you could conceivably ride a bakfiets, but the rest of these places are, let's be honest, completely car-infested sprawling seas of asphalt.
Yeah.
So you do still need a car sometimes. We manage these corner cases by using a local car share program, and I talked about that in a previous video. But even if your situation means you can't go completely car-free as we did, there are a huge number of people who could go from 2 cars to 1 car and a bakfiets. And there are lots of benefits to doing that, especially financially. This bakfiets with electric assist costs us about 4,500 Canadian dollars in 2015. This would seem like too much money to many people in Canada because they consider bicycles to be toys or recreational vehicles instead of being a serious way to get around. Yet they wouldn't blink at somebody who spent that much money on a used car, for example. So when people in Canada would ask about the cost of this bike, and they were shocked by the amount, I would pretend they were shocked at how cheap it was and would respond with, "Yeah, I know, right? It costs less than just the options on a new car." And of course, a bakfiets has minimal operating costs.
Oh, well, when you put it like that,
and maintenance is cheap. Even a very high-end electric bakfiets, like the Urban Arrow, costs around $7,000 in the US because they have to be imported from Europe in small quantities. But regardless, any car ownership calculator will tell you you'll be spending anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 per year to own and operate a motor vehicle.
Yeah.
That means you could literally buy an Urban Arrow, ride it for a year, and throw it in the garbage. And you could do that every single year, and you'd still come out better financially than buying a car. This bakfiets has literally saved our family tens of thousands of dollars since 2015. I am not exaggerating when I say that this has literally been the best purchase I have ever made in my entire life. Even better than the CuriosityStream and Nebula bundle that you can sign up for by going to curiositystream.com. All the people who skipped ahead just now because they thought this was a real ad are going to miss this clip of my cat going to the vet.
Well, we didn't miss the clip of your cat.
We would also use this bike for large grocery trips, and of course, taking our kids to school when they were too young to cycle by themselves. We brought our Christmas tree home in the bakfiets every year, which was way better than using a car because these bikes are so easy to clean. We used it to take home a used air conditioner, an office chair, a TV, even planks of wood. And I take our large recycling and hazardous waste to the depot in the bakfiets too. In the Netherlands, there are bakfiets available to rent if you need to carry something large. There are these old-fashioned kind big enough to move a couch. And there are newer app-based services which make it trivially easy to rent one as necessary. Here in the Netherlands, bikes like these are also very popular with daycares for traveling with large groups of children. And I see bakfietsen being used every day as commercial vehicles, delivering packages, or groceries, or mail, or electronics. In the Netherlands, these have absolutely
become just do everything on bikes in the Netherlands.
You can understand why. They're cheap to operate. They never
you wouldn't say nothing like that in the UK. A moped.
Commercial e-bikes are becoming hugely important for city logistics.
Moped or something.
Even
you
Toronto
get your pizza
has
delivery.
This delivery service called Nearby. And there are all kinds of designs that are coming to market in the near future, but that will have to be a topic for a future video. Because, yeah, bakfietsen can be used for so many trips that most people think would require a car. I asked for some examples from my followers on Twitter, and even I was surprised by the response. People carried kids, but also adults. Lots of plants, and Christmas trees too.
Clever.
Dogs, and even more modern fuels. Lots and lots and lots of grocery trips. There were a lot of dogs, and you can even buy bakfietsen specifically meant for dogs with a door at the front. There were photos of bakfietsen being used to move furniture, or to take out the trash, or any number of other things.
Oh, you can literally...
I mean, look, if you try, you could dream up a scenario where you could use a car, yet couldn't do the same task with a cargo bike. But in my experience, the number of those scenarios that are actually likely to happen to most people on a regular basis are vanishingly small. And in almost all of those scenarios, you'd be better off renting a cargo van anyway. I cannot stress this enough. With an electric bakfiets like this one, you can take almost all of the trips that a normal person
you can
living
do
in a city
everything
would need
on
to take
them
under normal circumstances. And if we could use a bike like this as a full car replacement vehicle while living in Toronto with kids, even through the winter, then there have to be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of families in North America who could reasonably do the same thing. That is, if the streets were safe enough that most people felt comfortable cycling with their kids. But most streets aren't safe.
Yeah,
And that's
I
the
was
problem.
just
Because
about to say
millions of
that's the
people are being
problem.
robbed of the
I'd love to
opportunity
do that
adopt an
here, but
efficient and
it's
practical mode of transportation.
it's just
that
the
could
roads.
literally save them thousands of dollars per year.
Roads and
Because we've
pavements are
designed our
not
cities
designed
only
for bike
driving.
riders.
And when urban planners try to make the streets safer, their critics use excuses like families and hauling cargo as reasons not to build safe infrastructure. Because those ignorant people can't imagine a bicycle path being used by anyone except physically fit men in their 20s or 30s. But when you actually build safe infrastructure, you get stuff like this, and everybody is better off for it. We need to design our cities for bakfietsen and other kinds of cargo bikes. They don't need to be used by every person for every trip, but they do need to be an option. For environmental reasons, for financial reasons, or even just because they're more efficient. That means bicycle paths need to be built everywhere people need to go, and they need to be designed wider. Bike parking needs to be designed to fit these kind of bicycles too, including spots on the street like here in Copenhagen or here in Paris. The bakfiets revolution is coming, and the most successful cities will be the ones that are prepared for it. I'd like to thank my supporters on Patreon who pay me to film the cat in a bakfiets. If you'd like your name in this list of lovely supporters, visit patreon.com.
Wow, that was an eye-opening insight to bakfiets. Yeah, it seemed like a really useful design for a bicycle. I personally wouldn't trust myself riding one with my child in my country, in the town I live in, because it's not really designed for bikes. Yes, you've got the odd bike path here and there, but they don't all connect together, so you would have to go into the roads, you would have to stay on the pavements, and it'd just be too much of a hassle. But if they put the infrastructure in place, I'd quite happily get a bakfiets and get rid of my car if it can save me some money in the long run. Wow. Amsterdam really have the right idea when it comes to moving forwards in innovation for the future. Wow. Anyway, if you've liked what you've seen, don't forget to smash that thumbs up, really does help out the channel. Hit subscribe down below so you never miss a future upload. Don't forget to drop a comment down below of any video you want me to react to in the future. Until next time, I've been TheCuriousBrit. Peace out, people.